Hi guys, one of my friends needs help and he started a GoFundMe campaign. It is for him and his family. I left a link in the description and we would be very grateful if you can help, even if it is a little bit. It would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much. Hi guys, it's Alex Base here. Welcome to my channel. Again, to get the cheap promotion out of the way, thank you very much to everybody who has subscribed to it so far, and to anybody else who hasn't done so, please do so. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Now let's get to the serious stuff. A few days ago I did a review on the excellent Poco X7, which I already stated that it is a favorite for budget phone of the year. Today I've got Poco X7's bigger brother, Poco X7 Pro, and this is a mid-ranger, now in that different category compared to the X7, which is a budget phone of course, and this one goes for £309 in the UK. It's the same version as the Poco X7, 8GB of RAM, the Poco X7 that I reviewed of course, 8GB of RAM and 256GB of storage. In Europe, the price for the same version is about €320 and above. And in India, from what I've been told, it's gonna start at around 29,000 rupees. And again, it's a great value for money. It's got many slight upgrades across the board, but 3 of those improvements are actually major, 3 improvements really. And they're mainly in the performance, in the battery capacity, and also in the charging department. How good or bad this phone is, and would I recommend it to you at the end of the day? Well, let's delve into it and find out. Let's do a quick unboxing of the Poco X7 Pro. It's a little bit bigger box compared to Poco X7, but let's see. Here's the phone with all the major specs listed. Put this one aside for now. See what else is in the box. Just a second. Got some sort of coolers or cleaners, whatever it is called. And we got the SIM ejection tool. Let's see what else is inside of it. A USB-C to USB-A cable. Another ring, just like on the Poco X7. The booklets, warranty and instructions, and a case. Yay! You do get a case just like with the Poco X7, but no charger in the box. Boo! But let's get used to it. Oh, this is a nice case as well. Alright, so this is the phone itself in its glory. Flat screen. Let me take this off actually. There we go. Put it aside for now. So this is the one. It's plastic back, plastic frame, and flat screen. See how it looks with the case on. Not bad at all. It's got a good grip as well. So going back to the phone itself, the difference is, of course, it's got the Gorilla Glass 7i protection, like the Poco X7, which got the Gorilla Glass Victus 2. So this is stronger. It's got a screen protector as well. On the top, we've got a double mic, an IR blaster as well, and another mic. And on the back, we've got a double camera setup. No macro lens. Thank God. We got the 50 megapixel main snapper and the 8 megapixel ultra wide. On the bottom, we've got the stereo speakers and the dual SIM. And we're going to check out later on if it's got eSim support. And of course, the charging port here. And on the right hand side, we've got the power button and the volume controls up and down. If we put this one aside for a second, let's see how much it weighs. This one. Let's say This weighs 196 grams, not bad at all. Alright, so let's see if it's got any juice in it, and we're gonna crack on. Let's start off with the stereo speakers. They are overall very good, just like on the Poco X7. The only difference is these are louder than the ones on the X7. They do have Dolby Atmos support as well, just like on the X7, and there is some bass and also low-end thumb and good mids and clear vocals. Let's hear them out. The phone's got great specs, and I've listed them here, the main ones of course, but there is also more, and I also dig that case, and I've been using it as well. Everyday use is a bit better than on the X7. The phone does come with HyperOS, of course, like the X7, but it is Android 15 out of the box and HyperOS 2.0 rather than the 1.0 on the X7. So this one is a little bit, ever so slightly snappier and more fluid. And I also got a quick update. Plenty of crapware and bloatware on the phone that you really need to get rid of course. But one thing that is striking straight away is that there are much less ads here. Much less compared to the X7, which is a big positive for me. I did not see any ads in the booster, in the security, and also in the cleaner, and that was a very pleasant surprise. Also, I didn't see any in the Xiaomi's file manager, and I used that one as well. The X7 was full of them in those areas. One thing that the X7 and this one, X7 Pro, have in common is that the software is not that convenient. It is a bit awkward to deal with. It takes some time to get used to it. Lots of features, of course, are available here as well. NFC, and you also get memory expansion. Virtually, you can extend it up to 8 gigabytes to take it from the storage if you run out of RAM. You also can do the dark mode in the display, and since it's an OLED screen, it can be more power efficient if it is in the light mode. You do get fingerprint unlock, face unlock, and of course pin unlock, and the fingerprint scanner is reasonably snappy, as I have found out. You also get things like floating windows, sidebar, AI subtitles, and heart rate measurement. The system is also very customizable. You can use various animations, you can change your wallpapers, the icon shapes, and there's an always-on display as well. Just bear in mind that the always-on display consumes more battery, even if it is very convenient at times. The X7 Pro does support Ultra HDR in Google Photos, however does not have eSim, unlike the cheaper X7. The phone does have a wide range of AI support. In Google Photos you do get magic eraser and camouflage and a few other shenanigans. And just like the X7, it does have Gemini. What to have for lunch?
To give you the best lunch ideas, I need a little more information about your preferences and what you're looking for in a lunch. Could you tell me, what kind of food do you like?
Mildly spicy.
Mildly spicy. That gives me a good starting point. Here are some lunch ideas with a touch of heat, keeping in mind that
Now let's move on to the display. It's a gorgeous 120 Hz, 1.5K resolution, Dolby Vision and HDR10 Plus support screen. It's got several color modes and you can get HDR on certain content on YouTube. I can also confirm you can watch 4K, HDR10 and Dolby Vision content on Amazon Prime and Netflix. It truly is a superb screen for this mid-range class, and everything is nice and crisp no matter what the content is: movies, animation, sports or TV shows. You will be very happy with this display. Now let's talk about the refresh rate. It's essentially two modes, standard and high, i.e. 60 Hz and 120 Hz. When you set it to 120 Hz, you do get 120 Hz into the interface and also when you're web browsing, and it tops out at 60 Hz in Google Maps, Google Photos and videos. When you set it to standard mode, the most you can get in everything is 60 Hz. Also, unsurprisingly, all the games I tried were limited to 60 frames per second, i.e. 60 Hz. Moving on to the performance, the X7 Pro has a very powerful Dimensity 8400 Ultra chipset. In the battery section, you can choose between different performance modes, and the ultimate mode is the turbo mode and balanced one is the regular one. The X7 Pro scores pretty well in Geekbench 6 in both modes, and also I did the rest of the testing in balance mode. And in Antutu, it shows very strong scores as well. And the stability of the chipset is also above average for a Dimensity one. And as you can see here in the 3D Mark testing, it's pretty strong both in GPU and in CPU results. Overall, the X7 Pro is a mid-range beast. The Poco X7 Pro has a huge 6000 mAh battery. Battery life is solid, but not that remarkable given the capacity of the battery. A 1 hour of phone calls took the battery down by 4%. 1 hour of web browsing took it down by 8%. 1 hour of videos took it down by 6%. And 1 hour of gaming took it down by 11%. On the downside, there is no charger in the box, but on the plus side, it charges at 90 watts, which is ultra fast charging, and you also don't need a Xiaomi or a Poco charger. Any 90 watt charging brick will do. Starting from an empty tank at 0%, I clocked in 67% charge in 30 minutes, and a full charge took 54 minutes. This is excellent performance in my book, especially for a lower mid-ranger like the Poco X7 Pro. And again, a quick reminder that fast charging does not damage your battery lifespan. I'm going to do a separate video about that subject soon. You can also charge other devices with a USB-C cable. Just turn on the OTG in the additional settings. And last but not least, let's take a look at the cameras. We've got a 50 megapixel Sony IMX882 main snapper with optical image stabilization, an ultra-wide 8 megapixel SmartSense SC820 sensor, and on the front we've got a OmniVision OV20B 20 megapixel sensor. The selfies are exactly what you would expect from a phone at this price level. The detail is poor, the exposure is not that good, the high dynamic range is mediocre, and overall they are of poor quality really. The images from the main camera are decent overall, and just like on the X7, the X7 Pro tends to overexpose. There's nothing to write home about here, but these images are definitely usable. The resolve detail is okay, the dynamic range is decently wide, the colors are lively enough, and there is no super aggressive sharpening. The ultra-wide shots are exactly what you would expect from an 8 megapixel sensor. They are average in detail, but the colors are okay, and sometimes the dynamic range is adequate, along with the contrast, and the noise is not that high. The 2 times digital zoom shots are noisy, the colors are washed out, and the detail is very compromised, barely usable. Night selfies on the X7 Pro are in the same boat as the daytime selfies. There's nothing to write home about, but if there is enough light, you probably can use some of them. You can check them out and then let me know what you think in the comments section. The night shots from the main camera are actually likable. I did enjoy them. The wide dynamic range is again reasonably wide. The colors are good. The detail is also pretty good for a device of this level. The noise is low. Overall, a solid performance. You can check the rest of the night photos again, and you can comment in this section below. A curious decision by Poco was to put only 1080p 30 frames per second in the selfie video, while the X7 does 1080p at 60 frames per second. The ultra wide lens is again limited to 1080p 30 frames per second video, while the main camera gets boosted to 4K 60 frames per second compared to 4K 30 frames per second on the X7. The footage from the ultra wide is decent given the modest hardware. There is just about enough detail, really, that you can see it's nothing too bad and nothing too good. It's just plain average. The 2 times zoom is actually quite decent. It's better here than on the X7, and the detail is good and the wide dynamic range is wide. The 4K video from the main camera is surprisingly crisp. I actually liked it a lot. Good detail, good dynamic range, lively colors, and balanced exposure. Selfie video, 1080p at 30 frames per second. The night video from the ultra wide lens is decent. Again, nothing too spectacular. The modest hardware plays to its advantage, i.e., by you lowering your expectations and not being too disappointed. The night video from the main cam is, again, just like the day one, good. I do like it, and there is a lot of detail and very low noise. Again, let me know in the comment section what you think of it. The 2 times digital zoom from the main camera in 4K 30 frames per second is more than decent. It's better than the one on the X7, and it is surprisingly usable. Well, there you have it, folks. The Poco X7 Pro, an overall stunner of a phone. It's got great screen, it's got great protection, IP68 for water and dust resistance, a great performance, a huge battery. Battery life is good. It could be better, but it's still good enough in my book. Basic camera setup, but again, the main camera shots are good. And at that price of £309, it's going to be discounted probably very, very soon. It is a great phone. If you're in the market for a mid-range phone, yes, this is definitely one I would suggest that you have a look at. The software issues aside, that it is not very snappy and fluid, it's not really smooth. That aside, this phone is definitely worth it, and it's got long-term support up to 4 years in total from Xiaomi. Thanks very much for watching, and see you next time. Ciao.